Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Gut Wrench Podcast. My name is Mocha. This is episode 92 of the Gut Wrench Podcast. And before we get started, while I was checking to see what number episode this was, in order to do so, I have to scroll down to the bottom of the page at the Apple Podcast or the Apple Podcast app, I think, or the Apple iTunes app. It'll promptly let me know. And while I was doing that, I noticed that my star rating had went down. Around 4 weeks ago, maybe 5 weeks ago, it was 9 5-star reviews. Around 2 weeks after that, it was with a total of, it must have been more than 9. It must have been at least 13 5-star reviews, because I remember bragging about that, something of that nature. And now it's seemingly, let me go check it one more time. It is an overall of 4.4 with, never mind, it must have been 9 because now it has 13 overall reviews. So, and here it shows me the gray area, like the areas that are grayed in order to signify that it signifies where the star rating lies. So it's got like a huge portion of this gray area right where there's 5-star ratings, and then none of it's grayed in where there's 4, 3, and 2-star ratings, which is, whenever people leave reviews, they typically leave a 1 to 5 stars, but they never stop to consider, hey, it was an alright show, I'll give it 3 stars, They never do that. Honestly, they always either leave 1 or 5 stars. But right where it's 1 star, it has, it looks like maybe there's 3 out of those 13 could be 1 stars, to make it a 4.4 out of 5 overall. So that means 13 overall scores, and I'm going to guess at least 2 to 3 of those 13 reviews are 1 out of 5 stars. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mocha. The hater base keeps growing, and that's fine by me, because what do you expect me to do? Roll over and die? Quit? Is that what you expect me to do? Do you just want me to cry in a corner? I'm not going to do that. Because I am fueled by hatred. Believe it or not. The hatred. I'm sure that there are people out there who do listen to certain shows on a weekly basis just to hate on them. But you don't realize it. You're still allowing me to meet my view of ad revenue. I don't have any ad revenue, but that's not the point. I gotta meet some minimum listener balance before I can get to ad revenue. So thank you for helping me meet that minimum listener balance before I can get to that ad revenue. Nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, I do apologize for the lengthy opening there. I just noticed that whenever I'd scrolled down to find out which episode this is. By the way, this is episode 92. This is the Gut Wrench Podcast. My name is Mocha, and today we will be looking at AEW All Out from September 2021. 2022. CM Punk brought it up last week, I do believe, or 2 weeks ago, at the Collision. He said that technically he never lost his pay-per-view, or he never lost his championship whenever he went into depth 2 weeks ago on Collision, talking about, or rather 1 week ago from this Saturday, where he went into depth to talk about Tony and what I would consider a very, his promo was very, like, all over the place, because he practically didn't answer Tony's question, and then he did answer Tony's question, but, he did get the job done. He salvaged the promo, let's just put it that way. I'd give it like 2.5 out of 5 stars. And it would be pushing 3 stars, because he did salvage it, but just the rambling, Tony asked him one question, and instead of answering the one question, he just went out on a tangent about practically nothing. Before the action begins, a word from our sponsor. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I paid myself to put a sponsor into this podcast episode, so you get to listen to one of my clever that I seemingly come up with these on the spot, I swear, commercials. Hi, do you want something that no one else wants? Do you want to be able to say that you've got the best coffee cup in America and then have no backing to back that up? Do you seemingly need a bath mat, or for that matter, a coffee cup, mini skirt, leggings, and coming soon, lingerie? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I've got just the thing for you. Check this description below, because we've got many different unique and creative designs coming to a store near you. And also there's something in the description, so please check that out. Also, whenever I said sponsor, I meant DraftKings. DraftKings is sponsoring their show here, and for whatever reason, you could win your if you enter their free pool to play, you could win your share of up to $25,000. All you have to do is answer a few questions correctly about the main event, including, will there be a submission? How many submissions? How long before he applies a submission? Yeah, something like that. Excalibur keeps, like, whenever he's reading off the ad, he keeps taking the time to ask about how many submissions. So, I just wonder, will there be a submission? How will the match end? By pin or submission? Almost like he's trying to incite someone about how the match is going to end tonight. The first match on the card is a casino battle royal ladder match. Yes, you heard me correctly, rather. A casino battle royal ladder match. No, it doesn't take place inside of a casino, you silly goose. We're at the Now Arena in Chicago, Illinois, and it's just the name of there's like a giant poker chip for whatever reason, and it's hanging above the rafters, and they've got to, like, grab it. First person to grab it wins. But here's the thing, it's not just any old ladder match. It starts with 2 people, and then every 5 minutes or something like that, that's never really explained, but ever so often someone new comes out, including the last person to come out, the Joker, which we will learn more about later. a casino ladder match. And we start with Yuta Wheeler, the ROH World, or Pure Champion rather, and Rey Fenix. The rules of this match are a bit different. This time around, contenders will start the match. All two contenders will start the match, and competitors will join the match until the match ends. But competitors who are already in the match will be able to climb the ladder and win the poker chip title shot at any time. Because whenever you win the poker chip challenge, or whenever you climb the ladder to retrieve the poker chip that seems to be the catalysis of this match, the point, you win a title match. So it's basically like a Money in the Bank ladder match, just with extra rules, extra steps. You know, AEW is always trying to be like different, and I can understand that, but you know, why not just hold a tournament? We don't need this. The semifinals of whatever tournament could have been held here, and it could have involved some screwy finish, therefore making it a justified cause or justified reason just to put like 3 people in here who all had rights. You know, hey, I'm in here because I earned it. No, you're not. You're in here because you survived the last round. Wheeler Yuta taking control of this match early on and taking position of the ladder close to the ring and the barricade. So he sort of adjusts it to wherever it's between the ring and the barricade. The next participant to enter is the Blackjack Casino Battle Royal is Roosh. Now they say Roosh, but the nameplate says Rush. So that confused the hell out of me. Maybe they had an accent mark over the U and I didn't see it. Don't know. Maybe he's well, whenever I seen him I thought, oh, that's El Torito. That's definitely El Torito, but it wasn't El Torito. 10 out of 10 for me. Y'all confused me, you know, because I thought I'd seen that wrestler before, but nope, he got taller. For those of you who don't remember El Torito, he was a possible man and or woman that was around 4'2", maybe smaller, and he was in a zipped up bull costume, and he was practically the mascot for the Colon brothers. Oh man, El Matadores, I think was their names. Makes sense because he was in a bull costume and they were El Matadores, which I guess means the Matadors in Spanish. Roosh gives Yuta a belly to belly into the ladder, into the corner, headbutts Rey Fenix off the ring apron and sends him to the outside. And the next person to join is Andrade El Idolo. I'm going to be mispronouncing that because I don't know what an El Idolo is. But he insists on that. That's his name. I remember him being Cien Almas, you know. So that's probably what I'm going to refer to him as because it's a lot easier to say. Is the next participant to come out in the Blackjack Casino Battle Royal ladder match, which makes no sense. Why would a ladder match be? It's not important. Wheeler Yuta and Andrade climb the ladder and end up meeting each other on the opposite sides, exchanging lefts and rights. Andrade with a sunset flip to Wheeler Yuta, and the ladder that was meticulously placed on the other side of the ladder. So he does a sunset flip to Wheeler Yuta, and he ends up basically folding him over like a lawn chair onto the ladder that was meticulously placed on the outside. The next participant in this battle royal type ladder match, Casino, is Claudio Castagnoli. At the time was the ROH World Champion, a member of the Blackpool Combat Club with Wheeler Yuta. While trying to do a spot that Claudio Castagnoli looks very strong, that makes him look very strong rather, and that protects Andrade, they somehow hold it to a, so somehow the ladder ends up jamming, because of course the ladder, if you can imagine the letter A, just a capital letter A right now, that's kind of the position that they've got the ladder on, and for whatever reason Claudio Castagnoli is trying to push over the ladder, but he can't do it, because if you remember the capital letter A has like that I don't even know why he's trying to push it over, but it won't push over because it's got like something that's stopping it from being pushed over. And Andrade, for whatever reason, refuses to jump off of the ladder, or for that matter, kick the person that's knocking the ladder over. Like, he's not very smart. This looks like a very failed attempt at a spot that they were trying. And then this doctor or official of some sort comes in and tells Claudio Castagnoli to please stop pushing over the ladder, and then Andrade just bails. He just jumps off of the ladder. It must have been like 12 foot in the air, at least 11 and a half foot. Meanwhile, on commentary, while that's happening, Taz and Excalibur can't make up their minds as to the shape of the ladder. The shape of the ladder looks like, they keep going back and forth, saying that it looks like an A, a backwards X, an upside down U. The next participant in this very confusing contest is Dante Martin, who we have talked about before. Under my own umbrella, he has at least two. He has two, I do believe, 4-star out of 5-star matches ratings from me. Dante Martin gets in this match several springboard spots from this young man, including a springboard from the top rope onto the ladder, grabs the ladder, and then starts to climb the ladder as if signifying that he was going for the poker chip up top, having several fights between Claudio Castagnoli and Rey Fenix in order to try to further cement his victory into this match, but being stopped at every turn, because even though he's fast, he's agile, he's very aggressive, he cannot keep up or match Claudio Castagnoli in strength, who tries to hit him with Claudio Castagnoli is that much stronger than Dante Martin. It is not stronger. Dante Martin is not only elevating this match, but also keeping pace. The next participant in this Battle Royal type ladder match is Penta Jr. And Penta Jr. straight out the gate, as soon as his entrance music plays, as soon as the pyro goes off for Jr. here, what ends up happening is someone, I think it was Dante Martin, rushes at him, and he hits a beautiful looking Canadian destroyer straight on the ring ramp there before the match, before he even gets into the match. So, beautiful looking Canadian Destroyer, and his lucha brother partner is already in the ring, that being Rey Fenix. Andrade gets knocked onto a table and paying homage to Eddie Guerrero because he does the taunt that Eddie used to do before he hits the famous frog splash. Rey Fenix puts Andrade through a table with the frog splash through the table. And Combat Club Wheeler Yuta, the ROH representing the Blackpool Combat Club, Wheeler Yuta, the ROH Pure Champion at this time, and the ROH World Champion, Claudio Castagnoli, in the ring fighting over who's going to climb the ladder. Holy shit chants as the crowd starts to get into this match with passion, rather. This contest ends with who I remember being called Malachi Biggs climbing the ladder, and they end up calling him Stokely. He grabs the poker chip atop the ladder, and then the last participant enters the match, who we will only refer to for now as the Joker. Someone comes out wearing a devil's mask, and how prophetic, I suppose you could say. But anyway, someone comes out wearing a devil's mask, and they end up handing him, Stokely ends up handing him the poker chip, and even the Justin Roberts sounds so confused when he announces, "Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this match, the Joker." He's like, "What?" Because, okay, I guess the Joker's in this match now, donning a devil's mask for whatever reason. Then he has the audacity to almost like make an attempt at taking off the devil's mask, and in doing so, instead of taking off the devil's mask, he does the classic no finger, take your index finger and then just wave it like this, like left to right or right to left, and then you'll see what it is that I'm talking about. We will learn who the Joker is by the end of the night. This match was pretty good as far as spots go, but the ending kind of ruined it. So I'm a bit on the fence, but 3.5 out of 5 stars. Nearly 20 minutes, because this match lasted a good 17 minutes, so hopefully my review of that and the fact that my rating, oh no, my pride, my precious rating, oh God, oh no, hopefully, all the crybaby shit that I didn't ruin this episode. World Trios Championships Tournament Finals, as we crown, don't know why I became Mexican there for a second, as we crown the first ever World Trios Tag Team Champions in this contest. As Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks of the Elite face off against, collectively known as the Elite, alright, face off against Hangman Adam Page and the Dark Order, made up of John Silver and Alex Reynolds. This is booking genius, because Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega used to be tag team champions once upon a time. Now Hangman doesn't hang out with the Elite and has chosen the Dark Order over them, or at least that's how the Elite sees it, Like, why would you choose the Dark Order over us, Hangman? I thought that we were best friends. Whatever happened to that? You know, and it really plays into the whole story of Hangman Adam Page having to pick, and even to this day, they're doing this grand scheme story where, for whatever reason, whenever Kenny Omega and the Elite were getting their asses handed to them, I think it wasn't even but 3 or 4 weeks ago from this broadcast that Kenny and the Elite or something like that, someone was being beat up that was represented by the Elite, and Hangman Adam Page came out to save them, you know, and the Dark Order, for whatever reason, looked at Hangman and they said, "Are you with them now? You know, you're stopping us from beating them up, kicking their teeth in? Like, they're scum. You know, like, dude, he's still friends with them. Calm down." So, you know, the storytelling here, long-term booking. This happened in 2022, excuse me. Last September. So, if they're still doing that, then that's gorgeous. From the word go, this match was honestly everything that a wrestling fan wanted it to be. And the crowd is fucking passionate throughout the night. I'll try to get through this one with you guys, but we're gonna be on a roller coaster of emotions here. Now, once the super kick party, once the I almost called them the Jonas Brothers. Holy crap! Didn't mean to say that. I'm not trying to disrespect them. The Jackson Brothers come out. Of course, that being Nick and Matt Jackson, not Randy and Michael, I guess, or any other two combinations of the Jackson Brothers. First, we go to the Yapper Dapper, Justin Roberts. And he says, he is Kevin Nash's new favorite wrestler, and some might say he's also Will Ospreay's new favorite wrestler as well. He was the number one ranked wrestler in the PWI 500 in 2018 and 2021. Holy crap, there's a deer looking at me right now. Isn't it funny that their names are the Young Bucks and there was a deer looking at me? Funny. Anyway, he is Kenny Omega! Justin Roberts giving the absolute best introduction for Kenny Omega. And you want to know what happens before he leaves the ring? Your referee for this contest, Paul Turner. That's literally what he gives. He gives no shits about Paul Turner. He just gives him this docile... Oh, and I forgot to introduce the referee. Both men at a stalemate early on in this competition, dodging rest holds, and the crowd gives the applause after the first stalemate. Matt Jackson gets the tag in for the Elite. Then Alex Reynolds gets the tag in for the Dark Order. Alex Reynolds he goes for the handshake after yet another stalemate between two Elite performances by Matt Jackson, but he spits on him. Matt Jackson just spitting and practically showing nothing but disrespect to Alex Reynolds of the Dark Order. The audience get in an uproar as loud as a loud uproar, and I mean they're making a whole lot of noise as Kenny Omega gets the tag for me personally, I don't think that anyone has ever seen. I don't think that anyone's ever moved the needle as much as Kenny Omega has. And especially looking at the fact that he hasn't especially looking at the fact that he hasn't yet entered the ring, and the personal animosity, and I put that in air quotes, between Omega and Adam Page here is enough to make the crowd start to make noise as Alex Reynolds tags in Adam Page, and Matt Jackson, of course, tags in Kenny goddamn Omega. Cowboy shit chants as Jackson in the tag. Jackson tags in Kenny Omega, and as we know already, Adam Page is in the ring, so that's cause for a cowboy shit chant. It's a flying elbow that even Randy Savage would be proud of from the top rope, only to get a 2 count from the Dark Order. Dark Order on the outside of the ring because they were knocked off the apron before Matt Jackson got the tag. Okay. Kenny Omega almost missed his cue. He's waiting until John Silver had the pin before he rolled in. So the referee, right, was like 1, 2, in almost like the camera. You can see Kenny Omega, and he's just waiting. He's like checking his tights or something. And you see the referee come down for 2. Omega slides in, and then he's about as close to 3 as you can get. Just don't scare me like that. I thought the match was already over. But the match wasn't over. And Omega saves the match at a close to count, and you can see him literally hesitate. He almost immediately waited until John Silver had at least a 1 count on the pin from the spin out powerbomb by Matt Jackson. Beautiful pinning combination by John Silver and Alex Reynolds. John Silver performs a German suplex bridge pin, and Alex Reynolds trying to make sure that Omega didn't kick out by holding him. So he was basically Alex Reynolds was holding his body weight on Kenny Omega while John Silver did the hip lock, hip pop technique that you need to do in order to get the German suplex pin. I've only done it a handful of times, but it's only been on like stuffed animals. So I've never done it with an actual human being, including a giant Mickey Mouse that was almost as tall as I was whenever I was 11 years old. So I'm 5'6" now, and I think that I've been that all my life. Just so we're keeping track here. But anyway, back to the action. Alex Reynolds trying to make sure that Omega doesn't kick out by holding him, pressing Alex Reynolds' body weight on Kenny Omega while he's being pinned by John Silver. A rather unorthodox technique. Hold on 1 second. Piece of chicken just came out of my mouth. The Elite super kicked their own tag team partner by accident, of course, thanks to a reversal from Alex Reynolds. Matt Jackson got super kicked by into the face by Nick Jackson and Kenny Omega. Fight forever chants starting to uproar from the crowd. This is a passionate Chicago crowd, let me tell you. Taz says something, then Tony Schiavone says, and I totally agree with you, Excalibur. He says, I'm not Excalibur, you fucking idiot. He goes, I'm Taz. What's wrong with you? This makes the third time that I've had to... He's like telling him, hey, you might agree with me, but at least learn my name, you know? And then he's like, Tony Schiavone was like, you know what, Taz, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry about that. Kenny Omega off the Tiger Driver 98, as Excalibur calls it. Only to get a 2 count. By God, these two are tearing down the house. The crowd gives a beautiful pop of energy and excitement when these two tag teams off Matt Jackson and Alex Reynolds. I don't know what I was trying to say there, but it's not important. John Silver reverses the one-winged angel into a small package, but gets a questionable count. I never went back and looked at it again, but I swear that was 3. I swear the Dark Order won right there, because Kenny Omega going for that one-winged angel, and John Silver just has the closest clutch 2 count that I've ever seen in my entire life. But the referee said it was 2. I guess I'm going to have to take his word for it. Because of some missed communication between John Silver and Adam Page, Adam Page ended up hitting his own tag team partner with his finishing maneuver, the Buckshot Lariat. The Young Bucks come by at an opportune moment in order to hold back Adam Page from stopping what he had just decapitated his own tag team partner, Kenny Omega, with a small would then pick up the pieces. I almost said a small package, and I don't know why. A disoriented John Silver, and win the match for the Young Bucks and the Elite. So I was on a roller coaster of emotions after seeing that match. I had to take a 4-hour break. I just had to sit down. I had to pet my cat. I had to basically be like, wow, where's my steam? Where did it go? Because my steam was actually out. So I was looking for a steamroller. I was looking for, maybe some sort of palate cleanser. I had to take a deep breath. I had to reflect on my life, because if there's anyone, and I mean anyone, who can show me a match that can top that, I would pay you personally $500 for life, royalties. 5 out of 5 stars. This match was an emotional, beautiful piece of work that I've seen all year. The most beautiful piece of art that I've had the time, the pleasure to watch. And reading this is a beautiful masterpiece, and I don't know how they're going to top it later. Everything just clicked. Chemistry, storytelling, athleticism, emotional damage. It was emotionally driven, let's just put it that way. It had me on the edge of my seat, and it had me biting my nails at times. Kenny Omega, as he's leaving the arena with those new trios tag team titles that he just won, because he made it to the end of the tournament there. He's practically out of breath. He looks straight at the camera, and then he says, those boys in the back, try to beat that bitch. I'm just thinking to myself, wow, shots fired by Kenny Omega. And that's only the second match on the card this evening. Athena and Jade Cargill sat down with what was supposed to be an interview with Mark Henry. But Henry didn't even get to ask any questions. As Athena gets in Jade Cargill's grill, she starts getting in her face and letting her know that she's not just going to be someone that Jade Cargill can just run over, She's not going to be beaten that easily. And since showing up, by the way, Jade Cargill has been undefeated in AEW at this time. And Jade Cargill was just disrespecting Athena at the set, basically just telling her, I don't think that I should even refer to you as your name. I think that I should refer to you as the number that you will become whenever I beat you. And then she says, number 37. Because that's all that you are, a number. I mean, okay, sure. Sounds about like, the way an employee or an employer would treat their employee if said employee was incompetent. But anyway, Athena versus Jade Cargill, your champion. Oh, this is for the TBS championship, by the way. And your champion is Jade Cargill. I did not write that down, but it's pretty easy to remember. Straight out of the gate, Athena wasting no time with a beautiful meteoric counter and almost gets the 3 count off of the top rope stunner. A move that I remember being called the Eclipse whenever she was in WWE, but I don't know what they're calling it here. But she gets pulled out of the ring by Layla Gray and Kiera Hogan, collectively known as the Baddies. Jade hits a Samoan drop, and then, after Athena gets back on her feet, hits Athena with a spear and only gets a 2 count. Jade gets caught by a flying crossbody and Athena from the second rope. She catches Athena from the second rope. Never mind. Athena catches her from the second rope. And apparently I didn't write down the way that this match ended, but I do remember it being a pinfall. But I just don't know off of what move or 2 out of 5 stars. The build and the story were very good. They almost you could see that the story was there, but what I mean to say is that it's almost like, why build it for that long only to have it? You remember earlier when I said I needed a palate cleanser? I needed some steam? Well, this gave it back to me. This was kind of disappointing, because why would you spend all that time? If you want to make Jade Cargill look like a threat, then give her like a close match. Send the Baddies somewhere else. Either she can or she can't win without them. Maybe give her more TV time. I don't really know how to fix this. But you can't just give her like a squash match and then just say, hey, that's our strong champion. She's really strong. You see her do that to, her last 36 fucking opponents. Yes, I've seen that. And that's very nice. But why have they all been one-on-one competition? For 2, why is it making sense? Why has there not been a stipulation match? For that matter, I'm going to assume that the Baddies have been involved in every one of these, I'll put this in air quotes, upsets, because Athena's got a championship right now. I'm not sure which one it is, but that's not the point. And she's probably working in other promotions, which is great. That's awesome. That's amazing. I fell in love with her work and everything else over the course of watching her in WWE. And hopefully you guys feel the same way, because she's quite a determined young lady, and for that matter, I feel as though that they dropped the ball on this one. It's going to be a solid 2 out of 5 for me. That's all that I can say about that. Okay, it's telling me to keep an eye on the clock because I'm around 45 minutes in. Don't worry, I'll do that. I'll keep an eye on the clock. Keep an eye on this dick. No. Okay. We go to Alex Marvez, who sees CM Punk. Will you be able to somewhat of a subpar interview from him? He explains that one of the points. Oh yeah, he's never been at 100%. According to CM Punk, in a fight, he's never been at 100%. And they're asking him about the fight with Jon Moxley. This episode's probably going to go up to 2 hours. I'm sorry, I just couldn't get this one done within an hour. Of course, he references the left foot, which apparently is injured. And he also states that Jon Moxley will not only be facing him tonight, but will also be facing the heart and soul of Chicago. He goes on some sort of a tangent about a teacher who won Teacher of the Year, some guy at Starbucks. Like I said, just some subpar interview wherever he's just answering questions that no one asked. Okay. He also talks about that Jon Moxley will not only be... Yeah, I already said that. Sort of a tangent about the teacher. The next matchup, as we go to the Motor City Machine Guns and Jay Lethal versus Wardlow and FTR, Cash Wheeler and Dax Hardwood. Commentary talks about the fact that this is somewhat of a dream wrestling match, and in a lot of ways they're not wrong. Having FTR, who at this time, the time of, this pay-per-view, maybe just coming out of a run from WWE, and after doing so, had a privilege of working with AAA Tag Team Wrestling Championships in Lucha Underground. Also having either they have the Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships or the Heavyweight Tag Team Champions of New Japan Pro Wrestling. There's a lot more divisions, from what I understand, in Japan than what there are here in America. And also the AEW World Tag Team Champions. And I could be wrong about this, but there was a camera shot that showed the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships, if I remember correctly. But for this one in particular, none of their titles were on the line. This seems like a filler match to me, especially seeing as though that Wardlow and Jay Lethal were a part of it. Would have just been the Motor City Machine Guns versus FTR for the Impact Tag Team Championships, and if FTR would have won that, then they would have had all of the gold in wrestling, except for the WWE Tag Team Championships, which at that point in time, why would they need that? They've got all these title belts. Kenny Omega at one time held 3 singles titles. One from NJPW, one from AAA, Luchador Wrestling, and one from AEW. Wow, can you imagine being that much of a decorated fucking champion in professional wrestling, having all the magazines, having all the news outlets talking about you, having all the podcasts, reporting on you? The Motor City Machine Guns, who for the longest time since 2003 have been making waves in the professional wrestling business, sometimes as singles competitors, but moreover than not, they would be together in a tag team situation in one form or another. Fans doing fans dream of two top wrestling contenders facing off against each other. But for me, this match seems like it just has no purpose as far as being on a professional wrestling match card goes, because let's be honest, there's no tag titles on the line, so there's no stakes. FTR chants as Sabin gets the headlock into the Irish whip of Dax Hardwood. Then, I don't want to call him Hardwood, okay? So usually I'll refer to a competitor as their last name. You know, I might refer to Chris Sabin as Sabin. So I'm just going to refer to him as his first name. Dax Hardwood, then Dax gets a clothesline to knock Sabin off his feet. Dax tags out to Cash Wheeler and runs into the ropes as Shelly gets in from the tag from Sabin. The crowd stand up, shouting, clapping, after the Motor City Machine Guns tries to suplex Wardlow, but it fails. They fail, and Wardlow then turns it into a one-man doing a double suplex onto two men rather than a double suplex. And Wardlow must have picked up at least 230 pounds, at least 230 or 35 pounds. Small dick energy here tonight. I don't know if you guys heard that or not, but he clearly wants some attention. The Symphony of Power Bombs by Wardlow to Jay Lethal to put an end to this explanation point to this contest. Wasn't much of a wrestling match, if I'm being 100% honest. It was really a striking contest, and that doesn't really make sense because we don't really have that much of... All we had was like rest holds over the fact, all we had was like grapple holds, Irish whip moves, drop kick here and there, you know, some chops. There wasn't really much of a story told here, and as I stated before, it just seemed like it was nothing more than a, hey guys, want to be in a tag team match tonight? Oh, sure, boss. Who are we facing? Ricky Starks, for our next contest rather, Ricky Starks of Team Taz faces off against former tag team partner of Team Taz, Powerhouse Hobbs. A grudge match of Team Taz that seems to be very rushed as far as the story goes, alongside of the poor energy that was put into the lack of hype for the hype promo at the beginning. Hobbs keeps Stark in the corner, keeping him grounded, throwing him outside, working him in the ring barricade toward the crowd, dueling chants of Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. So the crowd is behind both at points. Starks with a 2 count off the DDT from the help from the ropes. It only gets him a 2 count, and Hobbs hits a spine buster off the Irish whip and gets the win off of the spine buster with the pin and the 3 count. 1 out of 5 stars. Or 1.5 rather. 1.5 out of 5. I wasn't too entertained. I could possibly skip that one. Wouldn't have mattered. But, you know, for all seriousness, for all like intensive purposes, I guess I'm going to have to leave it into the, seeing as though that I had to watch it, I guess I have to rate it, you know, not just be like, oh, so just skip over that one, you know, nobody's home over here. And we continue the tag team action. You guys know how much I love multi-man matches. We continue the tag team tradition as the AEW World Championships are on the line as our champions, Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, whose house? Swerve's house, face off against Anthony Bowens and Max Caster, accompanied by Daddy Ass, Billy Gunn. Oh boy. Anthony Bowens and Swerve Strickland start this match. Bowens and Strickland in the ring. Nothing really big happens. They spend some time stalemates. Then Max Caster gets the tag from Bowens, and Swerve Strickland tags out to Keith Lee. The crowd clapping after even more done to a big man. Okay, every move that was practically done to Keith Lee, the crowd kept clapping, but I feel as though that just tell me this. If you're in a situation where you're about to face a guy who's like 380 pounds and he can move like a cougar, like a refrigerator with fucking legs for days, and he can jump maybe 5.5 feet in the air, maybe it'd be a good idea to take him out at the legs. But for some reason, Max Caster just keeps chopping him and testing his mobility and his strength instead of trying to get the big man off of his feet. It's almost like to Max Caster that Keith Lee's legs are invisible, because he doesn't really try to take him out at the legs. I don't know, it's just very weird. The crowd getting in an uproar with a passionate crowd chanting, "Oh, scissor me daddy ass." And they continue to say, "Oh, scissor me daddy ass," which seems to be a combination of the two chants. "Oh, swerve in our glory," which is obviously the chant that they're trying to say, but instead they're taking liberties and replacing "Oh, swerve in our glory" with the catchphrase of, I don't even want to call it a catchphrase, but I guess that's what it is. It's somewhat of a catchphrase for the Acclaimed. And for those of you wondering, yes, Max Caster did come out with a rap, but I chose not to write it down. The crowd go up into an uproar. Oh, what a passionate crowd. They keep chanting, "Oh, scissor me daddy ass." They are essentially doing a dual chant. Yeah, I already said that. Bowens gets the tag from Max Caster. Keith Lee tags in Swerve Strickland. Two hot tags get made, and Anthony Bowens starts to pick up the pace of the match, hitting Swerve Strickland with a neck breaker and a cutter, but only gets a 2 count. Anthony Bowens starts to grab at his knee, signifying that he's having trouble standing up after he misses a turnbuckle move on Swerve Strickland, and Strickland starts to target the leg, and so does Keith Lee, particularly Keith Lee practically doing textbook tag team wrestling as they isolate their opponent into their corner. That's what you're supposed to do come tag team wrestling time. You're supposed to isolate your opponent into your corner so that they can't tag out, and so that you'll always be like having a fresh man come in and hopefully overwhelm them in order to. So the story being told here, and there was an interview that I don't know if Renee Young did the interview or whoever it was, but was asking the champions, to the challengers, what do you think it is that it's going to be the defining factor in your all's match? And Swerve Strickland said, I think it's funny that Anthony Bowens keeps giving up on you. And of course, he's referring to the fact that throughout their matches, Anthony Bowens is always half-assed, if you will, his performance, because he got hurt, or because he ended up not having a full tank of gas, I guess you could say. And that's the story being told here. And commentary drives it home too. Anthony Bowens with a beautiful shining wizard out of the ring. Caster gets a pin, but only a 2 count. And I spelled pin wrong. Instead of spelling it P-I-N, put a pin in it, it spelled it P-E-N, as in, hey man, can I borrow your pen? So that sort of bothers me. Strickland made the blind tag off of the superplex, and Keith Lee, Strickland only get a 2 count on Bowens after the near fall, the crowd going wild, screaming, "This is awesome" chants. Another near fall, Max Caster, this time not Bowens, from Strickland. Another near fall on Max Caster this time. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Bullshit chants from the crowd as well because of a near fall by Max Caster after the mic drop. A beautiful mic drop elbow. I remember a certain someone who had a wrestling, what was his name? Was it Ken Kennedy? Didn't he used to have a wrestling move called the mic drop, or was it called the mic check? And it was practically just a flatliner. No, it wasn't a flatliner. It was, what is that, a TKO? No, it's not a TKO. It's one of those downward spiral. That's what Edge used to call it, the downward spiral. Then Keith Lee pins off of a powerbomb to win the match. The crowd absolutely went insane over this match. I think I have to give it 5 out of 5 stars. The story that was told here was a great combination. It was great emotion shown. Also, it furthers the story between Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, because there were only a few hiccups in this match where Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland both ended up hitting each other out of miscoordination, which I didn't write down, but I did write it down here in my closing argument for the notes as to why I'm giving it this rating. It was a beautiful contest, and I wanted to just give it 4.5 out of 5, but then I started thinking, is there any reason whatsoever, almost like I was a fucking deacon at a wedding. I was like, is there any reason these two should not be wed? And then I started thinking, you know what? They should be wed. 5 out of 5 stars. And almost like Knuckles in that Sonic the Hedgehog meme that I keep seeing, approved. So, AEW Interim Women's World Championship match as Toni Storm versus Akira. Shoot. Let me try that one again. As Toni Storm faces, I'm going to call her Sheeta because that's her last name, but I can't. Okay, Toni Storm versus Sheeta versus Hayter, Jamie Hayter, we love her, versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Funny tweet this few weeks ago, actually, by Adam Cole, where he said he put the D in DMD. And yes, he did. Wow, I cannot believe I just made that joke. Jamie Hayter chants as this match starts. There seems to be somewhat of a team mentality here as Jamie Hayter and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Hikaru Shida will be. I'm sorry. Let me try that one again. I'm an idiot. I'm reading my notes too fast. That's the problem. Jamie Hayter chants as this match starts here. It seems that there will be a team mentality here between Jamie Hayter and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Those will be your teams. And Hikaru Shida teaming with Toni Storm. So this is a fatal four-way match, but first, there's a few layers here. These two women, it seems to be a team of heels versus a team of faces. So they might just start tag teaming up on each other until they can get a situation where it's just a one-on-one, heel versus face or face versus face. Britt Baker hits Toni Storm with a beautiful super kick while Toni Storm had the arm bar, the Koji Gorodami, on Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter now taking control of this match with a double suplex to both Hikaru Shida and Toni Storm. Lefts and rights being exchanged between Toni Storm and Hikaru Shida when Rebel gets in the ring, and she eats a double headbutt for her troubles because she wasn't supposed to be in the ring, but yet she chose to get her happy ass into the ring, so she's going to get knocked out for it because Hikaru Shida and Toni Storm both headbutt her at the same time. Hikaru Shida gets carried away by the doctors over on the ring ramp, and that leaves Toni Storm all alone with Dr. Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter chants from a passionate crowd. Hikaru Shida lighting Hayter and Baker up with two kendo sticks, just swinging at the fences. So she comes back down after a little bit and the doctors are following her, telling her, hey, look, you still need to be checked out. You might have a concussion, And then she's like, I don't give a fuck. Do I look like I care? I'm a Japanese crazy woman. You better leave me alone. I got two sticks in my hand and I'm not afraid to use them. Beautiful finishing maneuver, Fury, as one neck breaker into a pin, into a tombstone power driver. A big super kick and a pin and a big top rope move into a pin. Beautiful choreography here. Beautifully choreographed is what I should say. Storm hits the Storm Zero, but Britt Baker throws Toni Storm out of the ring and pins Hayter and only gets a 2 count. Only gets a 2 count, but I don't see Jamie Hayter. I did not see her shoulder move off okay, so a little bit of controversy here. I only watched it one time because I never went back and watched it again, but they claim that it was a 2 count, but I never seen Jamie Hayter move. Her shoulder never, and it must have been like a monkey working the camera because I couldn't see Jamie Hayter move her shoulder up off the ground. I thought that I was going to see a 3 count there, but Toni Storm hits a DDT on Jamie Hayter. Might I add that it's a spike DDT that even Jake Roberts would be proud of. 4 out of 5 stars, a beautiful contest, and Toni Storm picks up the win off the pin. 4 out of 5 stars with a beautiful contest, all women involved, and I loved everything that was done here and everything that was told. Now that we've had a 4 out of 5 star match, you're going to notice a pattern here, sort of, kind of, maybe not. Christian Cage versus Jungle Boy Jack Perry. On an earlier broadcast, I brought you Christian Cage versus Jungle Boy Jack Perry in casket match. And I'm going to assume that this is the match before the casket match because they make no alliteration to the casket match during the hype of the promo to this previous match. It's apparent because it's apparently become somewhat of a personal rivalry because of two of them, but it looked as though that the catalyst is Christian saying something about Jungle Boy's dad. He says something along the lines of, you want me to be your daddy? Well, it's too bad because I can't be your daddy because your dad's dead. Something of that nature. And I guess, making your mama jokes is reason for someone else to... How do I say this? You made fun of my mom, now I'm going to fight you. That's middle school shit. Come on. Christian Cage goes up to taunt two ladies in the crowd that were there to support Jungle Boy, who is told to be her sister and her mother, and the older looking lady, who I'm assuming is his mother, slaps him across the face because he gets too close and starts running his mouth. Jungle Boy Jack Perry gets in the ring. He gets a spear. He kicks out of a 3 count. After Christian Cage gets him up, and then he hits him with what's known today as the kill switch. What I used to know it as the Imprinter. So 1 out of 5 stars for me, because after he hits him with the spear, Jungle Boy kicks out. He picks him up. He hits him with the kill switch, or the Imprinter, and then after that he straight pins him, beats him 1, 2, 3. That's the match. There you go. You just watched a pay-per-view wrestling match, and all because someone called their dad a name or something. I don't know. It seems pretty shallow to me. The American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, versus the Lionheart, Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho adapting his old moniker in which that he used to go by in his days when he was the number 1 wrestler in Japan and the number 1 wrestler in Mexico. In his own book, the first one he wrote, I read at least 35 chapters of the chronicles of the life of Chris Jericho and of training that took him to get to that point in his career that he normally is today. But was back then when the book came out. Of course. All that made sense, right? I hope so, because I can't read these notes. I don't know whose handwriting this is, but it's terrible. I feel as though that this match is Chris Jericho looking himself in the mirror of what he used to be back in 2003 or 1999, back when he worked for WWE or ECW. Jericho the producer, and Jericho the sports entertainer, and Jericho the professional wrestler. You can see where this is going, right? He's worn many different hats, and apparently Bryan had challenged him to a wrestling match under the assumption that Bryan would be able to out-wrestle him. But Jericho, having the pride and the big balls that he has, he's decided to take up Bryan and tell him that he's not on Jericho's level. He's like, I'm so far above you, American Dragon Bryan Danielson. You want to know something? There was a cartoon that used to come on Disney called The American Dragon, Jake Long. I'm just going to throw that out there. Why you got to go and rip off Disney? Why you got to go and do that? Anyway, I suppose I've run my course now. And they keep talking on commentary about how much of a great wrestler that Jericho is. And I'm sorry, but he's not the wrestler that he used to be. Like, Chris Jericho used to be an actual wrestling machine, if you will. A lot of you thought that I was going to say God, but he used to be like a, oh, look at that, dragon suplex, ankle lock, I was able to get out of that, ha ha, seen that one coming, ha ha, good job buddy, you almost had me. Oh, look at that, grapple, 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 keep you on the ground, grapple, push up, grapple, German suplex, pin. You know, like, some of Jericho's best matches had to be with Benoit, and in my personal opinion, had to be with Kurt Angle. Because Angle and Jericho had such great chemistry together, and they're both technical wrestling machines. And whenever you get that sort of competition, and after this whole, you know, break from WWE, after the strike is over, I should be able to pull up some Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero matches. I should be able to pull up some Jericho, Angle, Benoit, Angle, just to sort of drive home my point that I'm making right now, that technical wrestling is best wrestling. I mean, a lot of people like hardcore wrestling, can see that. You know, beautiful contests left and right. A lot of people like high-flying wrestling. Nothing wrong with that. You know, the luchador style, it's quite captivating. It's like watching fireworks. But technical wrestling is best wrestling. We can all agree, right? All right. Anyway, passionate crowd as we go through the first half of this contest. And these two are feeling each other out. Jericho with a triangle drop kick, knocking Bryan onto the outside. Then Bryan reverses a suicide dive that Jericho attempted by kicking him into the midsection in midair. Jericho gets the walls of Jericho here in the middle of the ring, and he's telling the referee, Abu Edwards, to ask him, and he's screaming, tap out. Both competitors trading lefts and rights on top of the turnbuckle. Jericho off the tombstone power driver with a lion salt, only gets a 2 count off the pin to follow. Jericho gets locked in the label lock, a move that I know as the crossface. I don't see any. There is no difference. It's like the bank statement. It's not the bank statement. That's clearly the crossface. Jericho is in the center of the ring with nowhere to go. I thought that said the chamber of the ring. I was going to say, where's that? Please show me where the chamber of the ring is. Who took these notes? You know what I'm saying? Nowhere to go and fighting for a rope break. Jericho counters into a walls of Jericho. Jericho had a lion tamer, which is a move that is banned, believe it or not. But it's Jericho's, I'm going to assume, original submission maneuver. A lot of people don't know this about Chris Jericho, but that move is banned. And it only took about 2.5 minutes, but he finally got the ropes. Chris Jericho hits a low blow on Bryan, then hits the Judas effect to win. this match, this is a match that wrestling fans, not so much sports entertainment fans, but wrestling fans can appreciate. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. A lot of spots in this match had to put into my notes, so if you haven't seen this match, I would recommend. Yeah, so if you haven't seen this match, I would definitely recommend going to seeing it. You know, it gets a solid 9 out of 10 for me. You know, and I'm IGN, so everyone knows that my 9 out of 10 means a lot. You know, Rotten Tomatoes, I don't know how their scoring system works, because I'm going to assume that Rotten Tomatoes? I think I get it now. Hang on. It's just starting to dawn on me right now. So they're Rotten Tomatoes, and if they certify something as fresh, then that leaves a good taste in their mouth. I mean, I don't know. Who comes up with this shit? No. Why couldn't they just be called the Gut Wrench Film Festival or something? Support me and did not note, so I tried to give the best highlights that I could. Keep in mind that people who aren't necessarily wrestling fans still listen to my podcast regardless. It's because they want to support me, and for that, I would like to thank you for tuning in every week. House of Black versus Darby Allin, Sting, and Miro. The story is a hell of a match. This story is... Okay, so the story before the match even begins is like, they just show a whole bunch of stock footage, and it looks very, very poorly put together. Well, I wouldn't say poorly put together. The editing looks really good, but it's almost like, hey, we need to fill time. So say a whole bunch of random shit. Random shit? Okay, I got you. And then he's like, nature doesn't choose who gets to live and who gets to die. Nature has its own agenda, and nature is coming soon. And if you don't believe that nature, and you know, he just goes on and on and on about like how it's like an undying resolve of nature, and I don't even know who's saying it. I don't know whether or not it's supposed to be like the narrative that House of Black is telling, or whether or not it's the narrative that the other team, Sting, Darby Allin, and Miro, is telling. Darby Allin gets his clock fixed here in the early goings of this match, and if I hadn't already said it, which I know that I have, but I'm gonna come out and say it, Julia Hart on the outside looks absolutely fantastic tonight. If you've paid attention to some previous broadcasts that I've done in the past, it's been a running gag with me, and for consistency reasons, I feel as though that I should say it again. Julia Hart looks absolutely stunning on this night. And honestly, we all take a minute to appreciate the fact that Sting is in AEW. This man is 64 years old, and he's been wrestling since the 1980s, and he's been practically a part of every wrestling company, every wrestling promotion, except for maybe a few. I don't even know if he was in ECW, but I don't remember seeing him there. Sting and Malachi Black lock eyes, and commentary says that Sting wants a piece of Malachi Black. If I was in Sting's position, I would not want a part of Malachi Black. Buddy Matthews in the ring gets tossed around like a pinball, the crowd standing up and applauding at every moment. Malachi Black just made the tag. Perhaps this is a dream match that no one asked for. The crowd in attendance seemed to be happy with it. Buddy Matthews with a kick to Miro right in the face. Malachi Black starting to bleed from his eye. Buddy Matthews with a save to the pin, saving Matthews from. So Buddy Matthews is being pinned, and Malachi Black breaks it up. In an ironic twist, somewhat of a plot twist that I didn't see coming, Sting had the mist in his mouth and ends up spitting it all over Malachi Black, allowing Darby Allin to pick up the win for his team. This match was like a whole lot of nothing, but it got the job done, the story that they were trying to tell. And I'm trying to speed run through these because I know that this episode's going to be excruciatingly long for those of you listening. And I don't want to cause any problems here. And, I don't expect you to listen to a 2-hour wrestling podcast. Who do I sound like, Howard Stern? What a creative finish. Because, of course, it's poetic justice, because if you think about it, Malachi Black, I hope to God that there's no, lightning storms in the tri-state area by me saying his name so much, or for that matter, that I'm not breaking anyone's glasses, or sending children running through hallways somewhere that I'm not sure. Nonetheless, the Dutch Destroyer seemingly in every one of his matches seems to spit this black mist into the eyes and face of whoever comes into his path. So it's only poetic justice that one, maybe 2 times, he gets a taste of his own medicine, proverbial medicine, because he's really not taking any medicine, let's be honest. Unless he's actually that crazy, which I'd highly doubt it. Fun factoid here, Malachi Black is also a Satanist. So I just thought I'd come out and say that, for those of you wondering. Also, he's not allowed in Saudi Arabia because apparently he has a tattoo of the Demon Queen Lilith on his back. Look it up. If you don't believe me, look it up. Nonetheless, I gave this match 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was a pretty good contest, but it's kind of, how do I say, underwhelming. Just a little bit underwhelming, I didn't see any of Malachi Black's lethal kicks. I didn't see any sort of huge tag team, spots that I was hoping to see, I was like, well, I can't give it 2.5 out of 5 stars, Gonna have to give it a little bit more than that. So I gave it a 1.5 stars more. But it's not exactly 4 out of 5 stars. More small dick energy, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, no, of course I have spoken in depth about the personal animosity between both CM Punk and Jon Moxley. And I feel as though that the personal animosity between the two of them seems to be because of a difference of lifestyles. You see, Jon Moxley recently had to go to rehab because he had an alcohol problem. And CM Punk, of course, has had a history of practically stepping on people's toes because they've been caught with drugs or any sort of thing like that. And I'm sure that I've spoken immensely about the fact that my mom hated CM Punk because he would come out and he would mock those people in attendance who would boo him because he would say, "My name is CM Punk and I'm straight edge, and straight edge means I'm better than you." Because he would talk about people's vices, included one Mr. Jeff Hardy in one subsequent or two subsequent promos that he would talk to Hardy about, but Jeff Hardy, suffering from his own demons, being pulled over for a DUI. I'm pretty sure he's got at least 12, if not 13 mugshots, that be a Jeff Hardy, all for like possession and this and that. And Hardy said himself in a documentary that WWE done called Twist of Fate, the story of Jeff Hardy. If I remember correctly, his downward spiral began, according to him, when his house burned down and his dog Jack died. In my own personal opinion, though, there is a lot healthier ways to cope with, your pets dying or something of that nature. You don't have to turn to alcohol. You don't have to start doing drugs. You don't have to do any of that. That's neither here nor there, and CM Punk practically had, boo-hoo, Jeff Hardy, everybody feels sorry for him, but you don't have to do that. You could have chose a cleaner, healthier lifestyle. CM Punk, for all accounts, was my hero growing up, and in 2006, whenever he made his wrestling debut, his WWE debut, not his wrestling debut, rather. I would come to know that he made his wrestling debut before then, but that's not the point. I only watched WWE and had no affiliation with like Ring of Honor, nor did I know of any. You guys get the picture. Anyway, the point, of course, being is that in 2006, whenever CM Punk made his WWE debut, I was infatuated with this man. Loved him. Every minute of him. Couldn't get enough of him, I wanted to learn more about him. But yes, with that being said, I do believe that the straight edge lifestyle and the fact that Jon Moxley likes to go out, have a few beers and maybe have a few good times, get rowdy with the boys, that might be Jon Moxley's lifestyle. But whenever you meet polar opposites like that, they're bound to come to nose with each other and then ask each other, what's wrong with you? And then, of course, the other side of the story comes out, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with you? How come you just can't have a good time? Because, of course, drinking is associated with having a good time, which I don't agree with. But, hey, to each is their own, I guess. I'm not here to say Jon Moxley's living his life the wrong way, and I'm certainly not here to praise CM Punk, even though I kind of want to, for living his life the way that he has chosen to live it. I'm glad that CM Punk was my hero growing up, and for that matter, I am especially grateful to have a hero such as CM Punk to guide me in the right direction, especially in my time of trials and tribulation. So I do apologize that this has become somewhat of a auto documentary for me to sit here and go, oh, woe is me. CM Punk was my hero and don't you dare make fun of him. And here's why he was my hero, and woe is me. My mom was on drugs and my entire family was as well. As we go to our main event, as CM Punk faces off against Jon Moxley, CM Punk chants from a passionate Chicago crowd. Everyone excited. Everyone gets excited for introductions to the champion, the challenger, as Justin Roberts once again leaving the ring, almost like he has that, oh yeah, I forgot about the referee. And then he does it again. He just disrespects the referee. As he's leaving the ring, he says, and your referee, Paul Turner. After he gives two, count them, like he does Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley! And then he gives a CM Punk. CM Punk! So he's not showing that much enthusiasm for the referee, Paul Turner, tonight. we get dueling chants of CM Punk. Let's go Moxley, CM Punk. Punk looking to win it early, but he only gets a 2 count off the GTS. The action spills to the outside of the arena where the crowd have paid their tickets. The only problem I have... Oh, yeah, so the action spills to the outside where the crowd is, and... Hang on 1 second. My headphone's about to fall off. The action spills to the outside of the arena near where the crowd have paid for their tickets. The only problem I have now is the fact that the referee is not counting because this was not advertised as a no disqualification bout. And what do you know? As soon as I write that down on my notes and then I go to unpause the program that I'm watching, Excalibur being the person that he is, he said, well, referee Paul Turner certainly is giving these gentlemen leeway. And then I was like, thank you, Excalibur, Captain Obvious over here. Even though this was not advertised as such to be a no disqualification bout, people in the crowd flipping off Punk, and a lot of people chanting, let's go Moxley. A lot of people also flipping off John Moxley as well, which, I mean, if you've seen the entrance, the way that John Moxley made his entrance, Moxley literally flipped off like a whole bunch of people as they were screaming, CM Punk, CM Punk. So he's in Punk's hometown of Chicago, Illinois. Enemy territory, so to speak. John Moxley licking the blood from Punk's forehead that was on his forearm. What a sick son of a bitch. The second part of the match seems to be revolving around the fact that John Moxley is now taking firm control and also taking the time to taunt CM Punk. And for that matter, really rub it in that he's got him right where he wants him in the precarious position. John Moxley spends a lot of time going into a Luthez press position, almost like, and afterwards putting CM Punk into a single crab and still taunting him, rubbing it in. Not only to Punk's face, but also the face of the Chicago fans. A German suplex to see. It makes no sense. And from John Moxley to CM Punk, I think is what I was trying to say here. Moxley and practically nothing but rest holds, nothing but like that. I got you now. I got you in a headlock. What you gonna do now, boy? We see like applied 3 or 4 different times. We see a chin lock applied 3 or 4 different times. It's supposed to say chin lock, but for some reason it says Sean lock. SHONLOCK. Don't know who Sean is, but I'm sure that I butchered his name. GTS from CM Punk to GTS from CM Punk to crowd without a doubt. A new champion was quite an entertaining and a great performance, a great contest, and he beat John Moxley at his own game. And before we fade to black, the lights go out. Whenever they come back on, there is a certain someone who graces our LED screen with his presence at the beginning of this program, known only as the Joker, before the lights came back on. It shows a clip of CM Punk in his Ring of Honor days, when he was in Ring of Honor as the World Champion or the Pure Champion. It's never really shown, but he had a title in his hand in this clip that I've seen. Shows which title is in his hand. Have a silhouette of a championship in his hand. In this clip, it shows CM Punk, and he's in the middle of the ring in Ring of Honor. It must have been whenever he was like 20 years old or something. And in this clip, he says, "You stupid old man, you should know not to trust the devil." He said, "I'm a snake. And the greatest thing that the devil ever did was convince you people that he never existed." Something like that. Yeah, he didn't exist. The clip ends. The clip ends with the same person who, at the top of this program, won a certain Battle Royale casino ladder match, who said that he would, he taunted taking off his mask, but he didn't take off his mask. That certain someone was known only as the Joker. Well, he still doesn't show his face. He turns his back to the camera, takes off his mask, and afterwards, he dons a scarf over his collar. And his entrance music starts to play. Did you guess MJF? Because if you did, you win the grand prize, ladies and gentlemen. What's the grand prize, you might be asking? I don't even know. Not facing the camera, but with his back to the camera, he puts a scarf around his neck. His entrance music then plays to reveal that it was none other than MJF. The winner of the Battle Royal that happened at the start of the program, therefore setting up for MJF versus CM Punk somewhere in the near future. And I didn't give the CM Punk John Moxley a rating, so I'll give it a rating now. 3 out of 5 stars. It was a decent contest. I feel as though that John Moxley is a sick individual, because you don't know if CM Punk has some sort of venereal disease, but yet you let his blood literally drip on your forearm and then you lick it off as though that it's some sort of prize or a lollipop. Thank you all so much for joining me. I have been Mocha of the Gut Wrench Podcast, episode number 92, I do believe. Let me go check that just to make sure. Once again, once I figure out where I gotta go. Episode number 92. This one might be 2 hours long, but I felt as though that, you know what? Got 2 hours worth of notes. I'll show that I have a passion for the art. You know, art is suffering. That's exactly what it is. Thank you all so much for joining me, and if you would check the link in the description below of this podcast, check out my merchandise. And for that, all that, I'll see you next week. And good night, and that's a wrap.